Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's Fateless podcast episode. Joining me from the Fateless team is going to be Dirk and Sham. And then we've got our special guest, Dave. Dave, would you like to introduce everybody to your content and some of your history and just kind of intro everything that you're about over there?
Thank you, Brad. Yeah, sure. It's great to be here. And um, yeah, I'm just excited about Godforge. I'm Wizardy, Dave. I have my gaming channel covering Raid mostly. I've been gaming all of my life, as far as I can remember. I started with Command and Conquer games, Age of Empires. I used to like strategy, but it hurts my brain a little bit as I get older. So now I'm mostly playing and covering Raid. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about Godforge.
That's funny. So you're Wizard Dave then? Is that kind of like where the Wizard D came from? Like,
So
is this a DD
I
character? Where did that come from?
I started my channel as Raid with Dave. Okay, my gaming handle is always like some sort of mage, like it's Gandalf in Raid
Hmm.
Shadow Legends. So uh, I'm tending to be all like, yeah, that's the characters that I like to play. Like when I used to play Diablo, I used to be the monk or any mage sort of character. Yes, I played Barbarian or Paladin because it's easier just to smash through stuff. But
Whoa, are you
so I
trash
always
talking
like
spin to win? Like, I feel a little personally
Get
attacked here.
Sham
Like,
fired up
are,
here.
are you saying that clicking and holding a button and moving a lot around in the screen doesn't take tons of skill?
Just driving through everything is skillless?
Whoa, 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 whoa. You mean that me pressing one button while I'm moving around? That's not okay. Yeah, I see where we're coming from here, Dave. That's great. I see where we're starting this conversation with a cut.
so yeah, but now that I'm getting older, like I'm trying to play Baldur's Gate 3 and it's my first Dungeons and Dragons game. The complexity of like the spells and how you should like I cannot grasp it yet. I love the story, but I don't have enough energy to spend studying this so I can play it
Hmm.
properly.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, and that kind of that's a nice transition, honestly, into what I think we should be chatting about today. It sounds like your audience really resonates when you talk about okay, taking a really complex set of problems or complex set of systems, and then kind of simplifying it, right, and bringing it into something that's like easy to digest. We've got this hero. I want them to be awesome, and so here's how I build them, right? Brad, you famously did a lot of this as well for Raid. So it's a great thing, but what it shows is that these games, they are designed for complexity, but really they should be designed for depth. And I guess what would be really interesting to talk about, and then depth does not mean that there's going to be no complexity. So if you have a deep game, um, there is usually going to be some complexity. But I mean, if you just look at chess, right? It's not really that complex at the end of the day, but it's a really really deep game. When you really break it down. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a great way to kind of kick it off. So like for you, you're saying that as you get older, you've been kind of transitioning away from some of the strategy games and stuff like that. So what are the types of things that I guess that you're looking for topics that you like to cover? Is it usually, oh hey, this is a deep topic and people probably don't get it, so I'm gonna explain it, or is it like, hey, this is a complex topic, the company is kind of messed up here, I'm gonna try to help people to kind of wade through the bushes. Like what angle do you kind of come at it from?
So I like the educational angle. So as you were saying, Sham, is that if something is deep or complex, I like to simplify it, just tell people how to navigate it. Brad had those famous cards that he created for champions where he's telling them the stats, the gear sets, and all of that. Uh, so it's two things. Like there is one step is just telling people what they should put in a champion. That if you don't want to think at all, just put 5k attack, 200% crit damage or more, all of that. Like just gives them the stats, and some people will go for that. But what I consider really a success is that if we talk about how damage is like how damage is dealt or how damage is received in a certain area, what buffs or debuffs you need for a certain area of the game and all of that, to simplify it enough that someone like, for me, the best comments I get on any video, if someone says, I never understood it in this way, or finally I understand how to do this,
Yeah.
that's for me the best compliment.
Okay, so it really is like a like teaching, you enjoy kind of almost like the teaching, like, hey, you don't seem to understand how defense is calculated, or it's complex to understand how defense is calculated. But I'm not, maybe you break it down, but then at the end of it, it's really like, okay, but so in order for you to get past this level and to really do good damage for the way this character's stats are built, you should be doing these things, right? Like you said, putting on this type of gear, making sure that your stats hit this threshold. I mean, that makes sense. Go ahead.
So you're getting into it. Let me say, I'm like, 5K attack, 200K crit damage. Are you getting into like why that's optimal and like trying to? Because I know some people just they follow like the golden rule of like, oh, your attack and should be this much. Your crit damage should they have this ratio to it, like, and they don't know why that's optimal. They just know like this is the golden rule. This is how you gear. This is what you do. Are you helping to kind of to make people understand the math? Like, oh yeah, you want to have this much crit damage because obviously if you just keep gaining more and more attack, your gains are diminishing in the sense that you gain 200 more attack when you only have 2,000 attack. That's a big increase, 10% increase. You gain 200 attack when you have 7,000 attack, not so big. That's where you want to go into crit damage. Like you kind of teaching that, or
So I don't like I try to keep it simple, okay? So I try to dive a little bit deep, but not salve deep into stuff. Like having those crazy shots of where like defense doesn't make sense and now we need to add HP or what, like the thresholds of actually Hellhades, like HH Gaming website provides a great some great tool there that yeah, beyond a certain point you need to add attack and not crit damage or the other way around. But I don't like to dive this deep because the majority of the player base, they don't want to dive this deep. And it's
Yeah.
only you're talking about the niche layer that want to achieve like the world record for the fastest dungeon run of 1 second or platinum arena or that level of player. And then these players are probably doing their own research. So no, I never go this deep.
Okay, so it's more establishing those golden rules, Dirk, that you were saying, like, hey,
yeah, okay, yeah. So just letting people know, like, yeah, don't worry about why you need to get 200 more attack. Just know that in this case, you go for these ratios, your guy's optimal. And like,
I was
it's
thinking
helpful, like,
whether
whenever. Yeah.
I was thinking whether so I never got a chance to do this with Raid. I was thinking about like now because that's my job anyways, diving into data and making sense out of it. So maybe I'll start doing this with Godforge because Godforge is like just a blank canvas right now. So maybe I'll start creating some sheets and dive deeper into Godforge. Let's see. Let's see if work will allow me to do so.
well, so speaking of that, what do you do? I mean, are you full-time creator? What do you do kind of, for work?
No, so I'm
Your
not even
day
a
job.
part-time. Yeah, it's just a hobby for me. So my day job, I'm like I'm in technology for over 20 years now. My current role, like I'm an enterprise architect. So I'm helping like companies design and deploy their solutions, mostly in the cloud, but anywhere.
Okay, nice. IT solutions architect, or is that would you say that's the title
Yes.
ish? Okay,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
I switch hats because as you know, like this is it's I can be a cloud engineer, I can be an enterprise architect, I can be a DBA because that's my background.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so definitely have an understanding of kind of like the way to break these things down. What I'd be interested to understand is like for you, what is going to make the like God? So you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe I'll check out Godforge and really do a deep dive, break it down, try to understand like how these things work. So what are some of the things that maybe you've noticed in other games, not necessarily just Raid, but in other games that you're like, man, I wish that they did more of this or less of this, with respect to kind of like the way that they do these things. Like, do you feel like these games have made it too complicated, the right amount of complication? Or actually, man, I really wish that there were 20 more stats that I could really play around. Like where are you at in that?
So I think it's a very like it's a very tricky dial to turn up or down. So some games, I don't remember which one, but one of these games made it so simple that nobody even bothered.
No one cares.
Like just auto equip, unequip, whatever, beat the content, and that's it.
Like
So they are losing. Sorry?
See, like AFK Journey was kind of like that. It was like I almost felt like why even bother having gear at that point?
Yeah, you would just be like, I guess I just level this.
You
thing
you didn't read anything. You don't care about anything. You look at the numbers. You're like, this is better, and you just press button, equip, and move on. And
It's called it was called AFK. To be fair, to them, right?
well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's like one end of that spectrum, and then,
Yeah.
The other end is being too complex. Like I think Raid as an example. So they started on the right degree of complexity, but now they are getting like too complex, I guess, with uh, the ascension and the relics and all of that stuff that they are adding, the gear ascension and all of that. That I cannot even imagine for a new player how overwhelming this can be. No matter how many guides or websites or videos they watch, it's just too overwhelming.
Yeah.
So one of the things that maybe like we should think about for Godforge is that introducing the right degree of depth and complexity day one, and then of course the game will get deeper and more complex to keep the players interested. But that new player experience will always like be like when we're introducing more depth or complexity, how would that look like for a new player? Maybe yeah, gating areas, for example, like you shouldn't hit Hydra unless you're at a certain level. So you don't have to worry about the complexity that will come from this. Certain ways of gating content so players don't get overwhelmed day one. I'm not talking about new players. We'd love a deep game from the start, but I'm talking about players that will join 2 and 3 years down the line.
Well, and it's funny because in my mind, when we talk about depth, a lot of it is especially, there's this curve of complexity that we have to kind of like take the player through as they're playing, they're going through their new player experience, right? So, yes, this could be a player that's played Raid for a long time, and they understand the basic mechanics, but they don't understand our mechanics exactly. And so like what I think about when I think about the correct level of depth is it's satisfying enough, and you can see that there are links that can be made, right? There's decisions to be made. And those decisions have impact, right? They change, like, it matters what piece of gear you put on. It matters which stats that gear has. It matters which characters and what combination you put them in. But it's not like it's not like you just have infinite. I mean, for all intents and purposes, a lot of these choices are kind of infinite, right? But you don't really have infinite choices that feel like real choices, right? And so like I think the thing that we kind of keep coming back to when we're talking about the Fatui, the first time user experience, and the new player experience is, yes, a lot of these games, this is a mature market. There's a lot of games out there that people understand, but that was true when Raid came out, right? That was true when Summoner's War came out, right? These were games people were playing Final Fantasy, people were playing, games before that, right? People were sitting around and writing things down, and for D&D, like all their different stats and all the different spells and whatever. So it's like that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be giving players a smooth on ramp into understanding your game, or in our case, Godforge. So yeah, we're right there with you, man. It's like what is like the correct amount of like how much information can a player take in at once, in a sense, is really a lot of what you're kind of like trying to like bottleneck. I think that's a good way. Go ahead, Dirk.
And I think you're also getting like because you mentioned you started with RTS. And that's actually the same for Brad and myself. Like we're both grew up on RTS, Command and Conquer, StarCraft, Warcraft, all that too. And yeah, I mean, I used to grind ladder so hard. Warcraft 3, like a top clan, StarCraft 2, not as high rank as Brad, but I did all right for myself. And it just started like over time as I got older, like it just became exhausting. I guess like just you would be mentally fatigued at the end of a match, especially like, good Lord, man, you play friggin' Terran and you're going up against a Zerg, and every game's like 50 friggin' minutes, and you're just like, oh, here we go. You're gonna be on 9 bases by the end of this one. Like,
the true grind.
and then you finish a game and you're like, I gotta go outside and just like turn this off. And like I know like when you're saying complexity, it's not that like people can't math and do all the stuff required in a game like Raid, but you don't want to have these like sweat fests where you're like, all right, I'm sitting down for my mobile game. Let me get out like my spreadsheets and like just dial in. Like you shouldn't have to lock in that hard 9 hours a day to play a phone game. And I think that is the advantage of playing a phone game in the first place versus playing like, you go. If you want to sweat that hard, if it's you, Wizard D, you may go play Dota and play some Invoker all day.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, hit the
But
Dota.
if you don't want to do that, yeah, we definitely want to have an experience that isn't so mentally taxing, so you don't feel like you need to take a like a vacation from gaming, I guess.
Every time you bring it out.
So actually, what you just said, Dirk, and what Sham said about the mature market gives me a good segue to one of the things that I think would be most important for me in Godforge, which is this is a mature market. Your demographic is 30 to 50 years old, people with jobs and real life problems and all of that. So, how to keep the game interesting for them? Because there are two things here. All of these players have been playing all of these games for so long. They spent years farming dungeons and doing fusions and acquiring champions. So, doing more of the same with different skins for different champions might be boring. Like, unfortunately, this is a challenge for Godforge, but because uh, they're starting day one and they are already bored from these previous experiences. So, how to keep things fun and interesting, how to do events in a different way, so that uh, they will see it as something new. And then the other thing is that, of course, something that Dan talked about, I believe, in a podcast that you did for Pocket Gamers, is that respecting people's time, because this is someone who's 30 years plus who just finished their job, which is physically or mentally exhausting, and this is his hobby. This is how he takes a break. So asking him to focus some more and do some, and being stressed about that, getting enough points before the event ends, otherwise he will lose the whole fusion. So getting away from those practices, like I like how Watcher of Realms, for example, are doing their fusion-like events that you don't have to do all of them. You have a buffer that if you miss a couple of them, you're completely fine, as long as you're active with the other ones. Having events back to back that players never take a break. That's for the demographic playing this kind of games. That's not like fun. Like some of the feedbacks that we're hearing more and more is that it's now more like a second job for me. So that's why I left.
Yes.
So keeping it fun and being challenging, because we like the challenge. We're gamers. Like if everything is too easy, we'll just get bored and drop it. But having the right degree of challenge to keep us interested and invested without feeling that it's a second job, I think there's a sweet spot that if you hit it, you will gain a lot of
I
traction.
think you gotta mix it up for sure. Like, I know what you mean with like the fusions and raid. You're like, oh, sweet fusion. This is a fun way to get a new hero for free. And all of a sudden, like, you finish it. You're like, oh, wow, finally, that's done. And all of a sudden, like, they're coming back at you like,
by the way,
get to work. And you're like, oh, okay. Oh, I don't want to miss this one. I'm like,
you start sweating a little bit.
Would be fun to get a free hero. All of a sudden, you're like, I really hope they don't have another one next month. Like, and
well,
like,
it's actually a really good shout out, because I think what a lot of these companies, I guess maybe have different metrics around the way that they think about how they're gonna measure success in their game. I think one of the biggest things for us is like regularity and is retention. So regularity just means players like to come on and they like to play. They like to play every day. Not they feel forced to play every day. They like to play every day, right? It's fun. It's their relaxing time. And then obviously retention. Retention means I want to stick around for the long term. Again, that means I'm having fun. The events aren't actually feeling like chores. Like that was every time Dirk, every time we talk about a game and I'm like, dude, I think I'm done with this game. It's 100%. It feels like you said, it's another job.
It's probably on a Sunday night. You're like, it'll be Sunday night. You're like, oh fuck, all my weeklies are rolling over. Oh god, okay, well, let's get to work. And then
like
all of a sudden,
2 in the morning, you're still cranking.
because Sham and I will always like play these games, like we talk about it, and like it'd be like Sundays, like we won't say a word to each other because we're like just both busy, like noses in our friggin' cell phones, like trying to finish our damn chores before server rolls out, like not sleeping that night, and it's like. What? Like it comes
which is not fun.
Work your job to take a break from like
And this is the thing, like it's like anything in life, right? If you it could be fitness, it could be like gaming, could be anything. If you do it just like to this peak level, and you feel like you're forced to do it all the time, and you never take a break, never are given a breather, you're gonna get that feel of like sickness in your stomach. You're like, oh man, I have to do this again. And I think we all know what that feels like, because we played games and then we've gotten kind of burned out, and we're like, all right, time to move on. Just do the next thing. And so like that's a big part of what success looks like to us, right? We're like, okay, how do we make these events fun? How do we make them so they're engaging, not just for me, right? And this is what Dirk's just talking about a second ago. It's for me and my friends. Like I play games to play with my friends. I don't really want to be sitting around alone doing, like sitting on the toilet playing a video game.
Yeah,
And that, you know what I mean? Like that. No, I want to be talking about, dude, I just pulled this character. I'm so hyped. I'm gonna make this team.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I just found this
Yeah, like try to
reliquary.
stream, like, "No, Jim, watch this burrito." Like, I'm gonna like crush this guy. Look at this
Yeah.
team I put together. Not like, oh, dude, hold on. How are you grinding this? Did you get your
Oh,
Hydra
I'm
done
at
today?
70%.
Oh,
I got
God.
another 6 hours.
Like,
Like,
I'm not even gonna do my 3v3s. I don't have time this week. Like, you just feel like you're gonna win.
Something that like can gain easy points, talking about community and loving to play with our friends and clanmates, is that sparring pit or arena training mode or whatever, where I can just train against my clanmates. We try different teams, we'll beat each other and make fun of it and all of that. That's an easy win. Keeping people in game playing against each other and having fun while talking and chatting about it.
This is in the. I mean, we can, maybe I'll get the Simon Leaks thing here, but we can definitely announce that we're definitely doing that. Like it's such a, it's like you said, such an easy win. It's such a foundational concept to be able to like when we used to play Magic and we used to make decks, Dirk. We would sit around for hours just like testing like, oh, this is trash. Pull that card out.
Well, that's
We
how you
were
do
so-
proper metagaming, right? You need to be able to like test your thing out against like all kinds of choices. Because then I'll metagame my deck against yours, and then you also like we're making
You're
tweaks
like,
to
wait
yours.
a second. He's doing a lot of
We're
this.
like
It's more-
between the two of us, we're covering every deck in the meta, and all of a sudden our decks, we get them fine tuned for what we think is the meta. We show up at Friday night Magic, and then just get people flipping tables, and but like that's fun. But as soon as you all of a sudden add in like play 20 games with your friends, all of a sudden now you're like, ugh.
Hold on. Now it became a
it's
chore.
Yeah, and so I guess like that's maybe to bring it back in. We do really want to be careful with I guess like live ops events, not we're trying to stagger them and not make you do the same thing too many times, and then having the philosophy that like anytime you're offering like a prize, especially an exclusive prize where you're gonna try to FOMO someone, like you have to think that like it's optional, right? You don't have to go for it. But anyone who's playing the game serious, it's not optional. You have to get it. And you start putting all these fun optional things in there, and it stops being fun for people because now you're just getting like worked to death trying to get all this stuff. And the fear of missing out is real, and you don't want. You got to use the FOMO as like an incentive, like, hey guys, don't miss out of this. But the FOMO shouldn't be like a legitimate, like, I don't know. Like
If you miss this, your account is garbage, right?
Yeah, I don't want someone to like, because then you almost turn the churn. Like sometimes in this definitely backfires. Every game I've left too, there's that point where you're like, you know what, I just can't. So I'm just gonna just not look at it for like 2 weeks and see how I feel. And then you're like missed out on a fusion or something. And you're like,
Yeah.
well, that's gone. And then part of you is like, oh, it sucks, but well, you know what? It just makes it that much easier to never go back again. I missed one, then I'll miss all of them. And like that's it's also like a double-edged sword because you use it to keep people in, but it's a great way when you lose someone to keep them out forever. Like, oh, I missed that. Well, then what's the point of ever going back?
Yep. To Sham's earlier point, like it's a smart thing to do as a business, as a gaming company, that if people think like I'm spending time because I love logging into the game and playing it for an hour or two. You're not forcing me, you're not hitting me with so much events that my resources are exhausted and I have to buy packs if I want to continue playing at this level. But I really like this. I really like that cool skins that you just put out for this hero, or I know that I'm going on vacation, but I love the game so much, and I'll buy a couple of packs just to make sure that I'm up to date with the fusion or the events. So
Okay.
I'm doing it voluntarily, the same way that I spend my entertainment budget to go to a movie or go to a concert or something like this.
Exactly. And I think that just a lot of companies have, you know, a lot of people have come into this and they're not really, I'm not, I won't point to any specific groups, but there are people that are running some of these companies that they're not really gamers in the sense that they're playing these games because they love to play games. They're there because they're like, we know how to make money. We know that this is now an industry to just make money. And this isn't to say that at Fateless we're not hoping to be successful and to make to make money and be able to support all the people that are working on the project and stuff like that. It's just to say that, like, what the way we measure our success is the way that I feel like the old great companies used to measure their success. It's like, Blizzard didn't put a game out until it was ready. Riot, when they first came out, it was like, so many of these companies, you can just see they're building for where we want to make the best game possible, and then everything else will come. We don't have to worry about the other stuff. And that's really been our focus, right? It's like, and yeah, and so to look at the specifics of this topic, you know, really measuring against, are we, just like what you just said, are we making it so people feel like this is fun for me to log back in? I'm excited to log back in, and I want to talk to my friends about this, because that's how you build. That's how these things spread like wildfire. Like I get into it. I tell Dirk. Dirk tells Eric. Eric tells his friends. All of a sudden, it's like everyone's playing this game, not because I tricked them into buying an extra pack. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, I got you. I got you for another $10.
Oh, you got me.
No.
That's how you got me on Raid originally. Is you wanted the damn like friend
That's right.
referral.
That's right. The referral
Like,
code. I was like,
got me asking me
"Dirk."
every day. He's like, "Where's my sacred shard? And what level you?"
Yeah. I started pestering him. So obviously, but to that
No,
point,
no, no. I guess
that was incentivized.
seriously though.
But
It
no,
was,
that was incentivized and
yeah.
well incentivized. I was like, oh, I really want this because I'm having fun.
Well, it was a good incentive, but we also both had a child at the same time, so it was you knew that I was in the same boat of you of
It's just
well,
like,
I only get one hand really while the kid's on my chest, so
yeah,
that's the best legitimate option. So you're kind of like, well, if you're gonna play a
if you're gonna
fun
play
game,
something, yeah, yeah. But incentivizing and to your earlier point, David, I would say that Raid. I think a lot of people see Raid sometimes, and they're like, oh, this game is, they see it for its issues, right? But I would say that over time, they've just kind of like, they're riding the wave of the way that these games often go, which is like they start off and you're building tons and tons of users, you're trying to really spread the word, and then you get to a certain point where you're like, hey, it's time for cash cow mode, right? And I understand where, like, the concept there, but I feel like for us, that's not really the direction that we would go. We really want to have the longevity. We want people to be excited to keep playing the game, and we're gonna do everything that we can to make it so people are having fun playing the game. And if we just stick to that, I think we're gonna be in a good spot.
Yeah.
I'll spoil this too. We're way more like I guess narrative driven than initially planned. And I think that'll help a lot because I know like Raid's story it's included in there so they can check a box that calls himself an RPG. Like, oh yeah, we have some dialogue, like interlude between chapters in the story. Okay, whatever. I mean, it's there. It's better than nothing, right? If you want it. But it doesn't add any longevity. Like they're doing events like a fusion and stuff. There's nothing. There's no context for it within the game. It's just like, well, this is our 6-week schedule. It's fusion time. Get to work. And you're like, you do it because you want the champion.
Okay, cool. I like this character. It's sweet.
But like, there's nothing to go with it. And then on the opposite end, you have like the Holio games, like
Genshin or
yeah,
what's it
um,
called?
Star Rail, yeah, Honkai Star Rail.
Honkai Star Rail.
That's like completely narrative driven, and people love it. Like they go back they're going back for the story. There's actually like no PvP or any like long term thing to really grind for so much as you just want that story. And so that is like very popular. Like there's a huge demand for that. So we've actually ended up, I don't know, just through circumstances of trying to make our story just not like embarrassingly bad or just an afterthought. It's actually turning out like pretty cool now. So as we're doing live ops events, do expect there to be some sort of like fun context. Like when Robin Hood pops in, it's not just going to be
Whoa!
like
Spoilers!
won't just
Spoilers!
be like a fusion for Robin Hood. You know, get ready to put your green tights on, string that bow up. You're going into share with Forrest. Like or not, Simon.
Simon's gonna do a whole video just breaking down
Drinking
this
with
moment.
Happening.
Drinking
It's
with fire
happening.
out.
So being narrative, I love the fact that you're narrative driven. I have an ideas like about how to make the events fun and like still engage the narrative. Like
Let's do it, man.
for
Yeah.
example, an event, a fusion-like event can be for one of the strong weapons, for example, instead of a champion. But then the backstory would be that the different factions are fighting over this relic or this weapon. So you'll have to do all of the events to gain this weapon using a certain faction. And then
And then you can have story
whoever-
perfection, have it be its own little story.
Yeah.
I like
and
that.
then whoever factions that gets the overall like most points from the player base, these faction players who played using this faction will get the weapon, while everyone else will get a decent reward, still like an epic version of it or whatever.
Ooh, guys, this is community. Let us know what you think about this one, because this sounds harsh. You'd be like, oh man, this is.
So, but
I fought for this
you're
weapon. I
still-
didn't get it. I'd be pissed.
You're still giving them a reward, but then, for example, like week 2 of the event, of course, it has to be like a little bit of a longer event. So I'll say that I started playing with the Aru faction, but the Olympus guys are killing us. So I'll switch to Olympus teams and start farming using the Olympus team just to catch up on points. It can be interesting because it will get the community talking. But the main thing here is that, which I don't like about what some other games are doing, it's not that one part of the player base will win and everyone else will lose. The rest will get a decent reward still, but that top prize, you'll have to talk with each other. You have to arrange what you want. Everyone will get something, but just figure out like if you all want to talk and aim for something specific.
So spitballing with this, I actually like this concept. I like you picking one of these factions. Let's say there was like a war between these 3 factions, whatever it is. I like the idea that you have the potential to win multiple copies of that of the weapon, let's say. But then at the end of it, even if you lost 3 times, you picked wrong 3 times, you're still going to end up with the weapon. Like I feel like you got to make it so, because man, David's harsh. David's ready. He's like no, these guys are getting something decent, but they're not getting whatever this weapon is.
They're getting the
Be
weapon
careful,
with
Dave. You're gonna
HP.
start getting emails from Polarium.
I know.
You know, for employment.
He's doing his pitch. I love it.
Yeah.
And
The other ones that I have, like something that's combining a lot of the mythologies or the cultures in the game. Like some of the events, and this can be an extended event, like over 3 months for the 1 or 2 year anniversary, is that you're gaining points over a long period of time to have a new structure, like let's say a pyramid in your bastion or on your camp. And once you gain all of the pyramid stones to build it, now you have this permanent structure in your camp that will be generating energy faster or forge material or whatever.
Okay,
So
yeah,
a
yeah.
different type of event.
So an event where the end result, where the reward is more of like an account augmenting type of. I like the idea of a structure. I think that's pretty cool.
I actually really like that. You know, you complete you get a certain amount of points in a dungeon event, and now for 1 week you generate energy 20% faster or something. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So,
Yeah,
a lot of cool stuff.
coding wise, you might struggle with it.
What is this coding wise? Oh no.
Yeah.
Our team, crack team. We got that part of it down.
Because like our tower idea, we definitely have that idea that when you finish the tower for a limited time, you're going to get a personal summoning event based on
Oh,
what you
okay.
use
So
to finish
now,
the tower. So there will be
Don't get too spoilery over here.
There will
Okay.
be like, I guess like, yeah, like just like limited time events based on completion of, I don't know, limited time things.
Of whatever these things
Yeah,
are.
that-
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
the
Limited events.
Limited time rewards for limited time events, but not. I mean, like the tower would be seasonal in the sense of like, not this is the season of the ogre or whatever, but seasonal isn't like every month or whatever. You'll have
Okay.
to reset on it. But for that time, you beat this and use these. This is your special summoning event for you during this time. So you'll get, and then that can be applied to other things too, as we're doing like, say, a world boss. You beat the world boss, and then for that time, everyone, gets to do this like as the bonus.
Whatever that bonus is. Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is
so
on the table.
I'd be interested to hear like kind of two things. I want to make sure that we don't run out of time. We get to ask you a couple questions. What's like one thing you would say we have to do, and one thing you'd say that we should absolutely not do, and that we haven't kind of already covered for let's go specific to events, because that could be a very broad question.
Okay. One thing that you have to do a collab with Star Wars, but yeah.
Okay, that is a big challenge here, but all right.
Yeah, so I'm just kidding here, but I was thinking that if you'll break the rules for the mythology, I was listening to the other podcast about creating your world and respecting its rules. But yeah, we should break this rule for Star Wars if it comes. But yeah, no, one
It's a
thing
galaxy
that
far away, long time ago, right? Who knows?
one thing that you must do, in my opinion, is that exactly what we were talking about. You need to have a different way of doing the events. Otherwise, even if players step into the game and try it, it will be just another Watcher of Realms or Raid or Summoner's War account for them. They will get bored from it really fast. Having the different way of doing the events is a must, so that it's a new game. And from everything I've heard and seen, you're doing a great job at it. So yeah, just get people engaged, and beyond that, you just won. The other thing that you should not do for sure is that, uh, basically exhausting the players, whether it's from with packs or with time pressure. Um, that would be for most of the player base, from what I'm hearing. Like some games, like, yes, the obvious one we're talking about here is Raid, is that people invested so much time, effort, and money into the game now that it's just sunk cost and they don't want to leave because of it, part of them at least. But doing this as a new game would be a big no-no. So, yes, there is a margin, there is a buffer. You can skip a couple of events and still get the reward. You don't have to spend 9 hours in game unless you want to, unless you enjoy it. Yeah, that's what you should avoid, basically.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's one of those things where, and this is something else that we'll highlight, because this is the other side of the coin. We want to make sure that if you want to play your whole day, right? You're saying, listen, I just want to sit on my couch. I want to have something on the screen, and I just want to be playing all day. You should be able to do that, right? That should be something that you can do in Godforge the whole day if you choose, right? But if you're like, okay, I want to be efficient, I want to be optimal on my account, I want and the resources that you're given with the events that are going on, that should be something that is well, definitely not, like you said, 9 hours in a day.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too, Sham. I'm glad you brought that up. That would almost more a dedicated video on how to try and pull that off. To marry the two players of like the one that I want to play 30 minutes a day and be done. I got a job and kids, and I can't play 14 hours. And then the person that does want to grind, and I love Godforge. I'm in Discord calls with my friends, and I want to play all day. I don't want to be done in 30 minutes. That's tough to marry those two concepts.
Right. That's where rewards come in, because like you have, like I said, the chores that you're forced to do, that's where you get stuff for it. And if you don't do your chore for the day, you don't get that resource or reward for the day. So I must do this. But then for the people who want to play all day, you start putting rewards into that. And now listen, the people who don't want to play are forced to play all day. But if you have just modes that are fun and aren't really giving you anything out of it, I guess going back to AFK Journey Bread, and I played like their arena mode, like
Honor Duel.
Yeah, Honor Duel, that's what it's called. Yeah. We played it a bunch. You got nothing for it. It was just fun. So it's definitely a goal of ours to include like a fun way to play where you're not really getting anything, like maybe a long-term, like reward track for it or something, or like a seasonal thing where if you do pop in once or twice, you'll get everything for it. And playing anything beyond it, it's just for like leaderboard, bragging rights. You don't need to. We just want like, just sometimes like, I don't know, I play these games, and especially when you're just getting into them, you want to like learn everything, see everything. You're like, oh god, I'm out of energy, or well, this is all I'm doing today. Okay, I can't progress anymore. Like I've maxed out my current armor. I don't have any more resources to do anything, so I guess I'm just stuck now. And like it just feels crappy because
Yeah.
you want that next dopamine hit or whatever, or you just genuinely like the game. You want to just mainline that right into your system, and you really can't. And I hate that feeling too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you said, Brad, it really is. It warrants a full discussion around that, because it's like, what is the right amount of time? How long should that be? How many, how can you give access to that? What are, I mean, we have this normalized mode that we're talking about. Like, we've already talked about how that kind of fits into it, but it's like, well, how exactly does that fit into this time, respecting thing? So yeah, another discussion. Maybe David, we could have you back. But we want to make sure we respect the time. We're running low on it. Brad, you want to round us up, man?
Yeah. It's been
Can I ask for one last thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know for a fact that you'll have Easter eggs hidden in the game, okay? Because I've heard
who said that? Yes.
Wait. So, can you give us just a hint about one of them now? So players can write it down and look for it when the game is.
That's a big ask. That's a big
Simon video coming up soon here.
Okay, keep it in mind.
I
Maybe
guess,
for a later
like,
time.
If you're seeing any high production cinematics, within those cinematics, there may be a clue
Yeah,
that
pay
can
attention.
get you.
How about that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that can get you something later on. So
Okay.
that's
thing.
I guess that'd be one section.
I appreciate the
One
effort
second,
there, Dave. I would be doing the same thing in your shoes.
Yeah, you got to probe, right? You got to probe.
You gotta. I've been the creator talking with devs. I would be doing the same thing. But no, Dave, it's been great to chat with you, and we will definitely link to his channel down below. Definitely check it out. I believe you're covering Raid and then Godforge in the future currently, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, it's been fun, and we will also have links down below to Discord and all that good stuff if you want to give your feedback on anything we've talked about here and stay in the loop on Godforge. So, as always, it's been a lot of fun, and we'll see you soon in the next
Thanks for
Fateless
coming,
podcast
man.
episode.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers,
This
guys.
was fun.